Well, there seemed to be this bit where Charles was now linked to the Epstein files with Prince Andrew and covering things up, so lying. But in the internet it says that that's a load of rubbish, but no. These royals do what they want to do, which is exactly what the next bit of video is about. I saw this little video. To me, if Charles has done these things, then he broke the Constitution, because the king is not supposed to do these things. But we all know that we're not in a democracy, so it's all a load of rubbish. But let's listen to the little video, and thank you very much to the creator who made this. I've just taken a little bit of your video because he's broken it again. How many, if he didn't break it then, he's broken it now. He's breaking our Constitution by a king asking for favours through the government. Anyway, let's watch the little video.
The bunch of stuff he's got back in terms of answers is pretty pitiful, which shows the Freedom of Information Act doesn't work when it comes to the royal family. I was asking parliamentary questions which are more difficult to evade than freedom of information requests. They're much more immediate because you get an answer in, or even less, in a parliamentary question. And the fact of the matter is that, and this is a great issue which Andrew and I share a view on, which is that the exemption, effectively exemption of the royal family from freedom of information is a disgrace. They are part of the public sector. They have public money. They perform public duties. And anybody who does those things, whether it's a local councillor or whether it's a member of the head teacher in a school or whether it's someone in a health service or a government minister, they are accountable. And you can ask about those particular functions. There's an exemption for the royal family, and it's got worse over 20 years, because back in 2000 or thereabouts, when the act was being put together, I asked the relevant minister at the time in a parliamentary question whether the royal family would be treated the same as any other bit of the public sector, and I was assured they would be. Assured they would be. Well, that's all gone by the board. And at the same time as the Freedom of Information Act has widened in terms of what's caught by it, for example, Network Rail never used to be there and it's now the Act, the only body to go in the opposite direction is the monarchy. And why has that happened? Because the Guardian pursued these so-called spider letters which Charles had written to government ministers. Spider letters wherein Charles quite improperly was writing to ministers, making highly political points and arguing for political positions, for example in favour of fox hunting, in favour of homeopathy, saying there wasn't enough money spent on this particular area of defence. Absolutely outside what he should have been doing. They're supposed to be non-political, the royals. And the Guardian got hold of these letters and wanted to publish them. And there was a big fight with the government as to whether or not they would have access to those letters. Well, the Guardian won. Well done, the Guardian. And we saw 30 or 40 of those letters finally published, which is when we know that Charles was making these improper suggestions to government. Well, what was the reaction of Charles at that point? Was it to say, hands up, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have done that, I became too political, I won't do it again? No, his response was to go to the government and say, I've been found out. Can we now change the Freedom of Information Act so people can't find out in the future? In other words, I'll carry on, but I want to be tech protected so people can't find out. And that's what the government did. And the act was changed to give him and William blanket exemption from information release.